The man threatens to take his wife's inheritance after her father's funeral. But what happens next shocks everyone. Dear viewers, welcome to our channel. Subscribe to receive more stories every day. The young Elena was born into a loving home. She was the only daughter of Henry and Margaret. The small family lived in a modest house in a suburban neighborhood, where Elena spent her early years. However, the tranquility of Elena's childhood was abruptly shattered by a sudden twist of fate. When she was still just a child, her mother Margaret was taken by a tragic accident. Margaret's loss not only left an emotional void in Elena's life, but also set the young girl on a path of highs and lows, shaping the course of her existence in unexpected ways. After Margaret's passing, Henry took on the sole responsibility of raising Elena, determined to provide a nurturing childhood for his daughter. He decided to move to a cottage near the cliffs. This new residence, surrounded by vast open fields and close to the rugged coastline, offered the perfect environment for Elena to enjoy playing and exploring amidst the nature that spread around her. Her father, with his unwavering commitment, sought to create a haven where little Elena could thrive. Time passed, and Elena, in her teenage years, spent most of her time with friends. Meanwhile, Henry, who had devoted himself entirely to the care of his only daughter for years, found solace in an old family friend, Rachel, with whom he decided to share his journey. The decision to rekindle this bond marked a new chapter in Henry's life. For in Rachel, he found not only companionship, but also someone with whom he could share the journey of raising and caring for Elena. Elena's cottage often became the meeting point for her and her friends, a welcoming space where they could gather and enjoy carefree moments. Among these friends was Ethan, and over time, a special feeling blossomed between them, leading them to start a relationship. However, Henry, Elena's father, harbored certain reservations about the young man, concerned about his intentions toward his daughter, fearing that Ethan might be taking advantage of the situation. These concerns cast shadows over Elena's relationship, creating tension between Henry and the young couple. Elena could not understand why her father did not like Ethan, who had always been sincere in his love for her. The discrepancy between her father's distrust and the reality of their genuine relationship caused emotional conflicts for Elena. Despite her father's persistent objection, Elena and Ethan, after a few years of dating, decided to get married. This decision would significantly alter Elena's life. With the move to their new home and the building of a new family, Elena distanced herself from daily interactions with her father. Even amidst disagreements, Elena continued to make regular visits to her father and Rachel at the old cottage near the cliffs. On those occasions, she was rarely accompanied by Ethan, thus creating a balance between the two spheres of her life: the new family she was building and the strong ties with her father. As the years passed, the young couple began to face financial difficulties, leading to frequent arguments between Elena and Ethan. On one of those tense nights, while they were in the living room of their small house discussing how to solve the constant financial difficulties they were facing, Ethan argued arrogantly, "Elena, we need to be practical here. Your father's land is too much, way more than he needs with just him and Rachel. He should mortgage that land and move into something smaller. The money from the mortgage could solve our financial problems once and for all. This is the least he could do, given that he has never supported us in anything. It's time for him to help out. You're his only daughter. Is he really going to let us go through this alone?" Elena looked at Ethan, surprised by his harsh tone, before responding, "Where did you get that idea? He has no obligation to help us. The land is his. I know we are facing difficulties, but I can't just ask my father to mortgage his property. There's much more at stake than just money. Besides," Elena continued, "my father has always supported us, despite the disagreements. You are the one who never made an effort to be present." The topic raised by Ethan only added more tension to the already fragile relationship of the couple, creating an ever-widening chasm between them and highlighting the emotional divergences and complexities that permeated the young couple's life. In the midst of difficulties in her marriage, Elena's life took another turn when her father Henry was diagnosed with a disease that gradually sapped his strength. Faced with this new reality, Elena redirected her energies, making more frequent visits to her father. Aware of the fragility of the time left with him, she sought to make the most of every precious moment. During this challenging period, Elena also became a crucial support for Rachel, sharing the care responsibilities and providing comfort to Henry during his battle with the illness. Ethan, however, instead of supporting his wife during this delicate time, expressed discomfort with the amount of time Elena spent at her father's house, voicing his opinion strongly. This lack of understanding and support from Ethan further weakened their relationship. As Henry's condition worsened, they decided to move into Rachel's old house, a smaller and more accessible home that would make access easier for Henry, who was becoming increasingly debilitated. In this scenario, Ethan saw the opportunity to mortgage Henry's land as something increasingly imminent. The prospect of a change in circumstances seemed to awaken a greedy sentiment in Ethan, fueling his hopes for financial gain. When Henry passed away, Elena and Ethan's relationship was already on the brink of collapse. Ethan's presence at the funeral was surprising to Elena, who couldn't believe that he, who had never been actively involved in her father's life, was there. However, she couldn't foresee that Ethan's true intentions were different. As they were leaving the funeral, Ethan whispered in Elena's ear, "I've taken over the land you inherited and already started the process for a mortgage. If you don't like it, file for a divorce." Elena, recalling a recent conversation she had with her father, couldn't help but laugh. Henry, who had always been concerned about his daughter's relationship with Ethan, couldn't ignore that their situation was becoming increasingly critical each day. He knew his time was short, and once he was gone, his daughter would inherit the land, and Ethan would be entitled to part of that inheritance. So Henry called Elena for a serious conversation at his house and began explaining his decision. "My daughter, listen to me. You know very well my opinions about Ethan, and I know you have never been able to see that in him." Elena tried to interrupt her father, but Henry continued, "Despite my reservations, I never stopped you from being with him because I knew I might lose you if I did. However, my remaining time is short, and I want to ensure that you have what is rightfully yours. I'm transferring the land to Rachel's name, so when I'm gone, Ethan won't have any rights to it. Don't worry, the land is yours and Rachel knows that. But as long as you are married to him, the land will remain in Rachel's name." Elena, despite having already argued with Ethan about the land and starting to notice his behavior, couldn't admit that her father was right and left the conversation with Henry, furious at his actions. However, now recalling her father's words and realizing that he was correct about Ethan, a joyful laugh escaped her lips involuntarily. "I can't believe it. He was right," Elena laughed, remembering fondly her father's love and care for her until his last days. "Right about what?" Ethan questioned, annoyed at Elena's laughter. "I think you didn't get what I said. I've already taken over your father's land, and whether you like it or not, I'm going to mortgage it." Elena, finally breaking the silence, revealed to Ethan firmly, "You are the one who doesn't understand the situation. You are not going to mortgage the land because it isn't yours, nor is it mine. Although I didn't want to see it, my father always knew very well who you were. That's why the land wasn't in his name. He transferred the property to Rachel. You won't have any rights to anything of my father's." Elena's words carried the strength of the truth she hadn't been able to accept before. Faced with Elena's revelation, Ethan, unsettled, tried to change her perspective. "Look at what your father did to you. He left you with nothing. Even knowing about our financial struggles, he chose to pass the land to Rachel. You're thinking you'll have rights to this land, but you'll never get it from Rachel. Now that your father is no longer here, she will cut ties with you, and you'll never see your precious land again. It would have been better if we'd mortgaged it when I suggested, but you didn't want to listen to me." Ethan's words were filled with resentment and sought to undermine Elena's confidence and security. His manipulation aimed to shake her certainty about her father's decisions. Elena, standing firm against Ethan's attempts at manipulation, didn't allow his words to affect her. Before leaving, she made sure to make it clear that this was the end, putting a definitive end to their story. With unyielding determination, Elena marked the inevitable conclusion of a tumultuous relationship, closing a chapter that had become too painful and complex. Elena, determined to start a new chapter in her life, moved into Rachel's house, where she was welcomed with open arms. Determined to ensure that Ethan no longer had access to her father's old land, Elena arranged to secure the property. Rachel, following Henry's recommendations, waited for the divorce process to be finalized before transferring the land's ownership into Elena's name, thus ensuring that Ethan had no claim to the property that Henry had left as an inheritance for his daughter. In this new journey they now shared, Elena and Rachel faced the challenges of this new phase together. Grief transformed into mutual strengthening, and Elena, now without both her parents, again recognized her father's care in creating this bond with Rachel. Rachel was not just a family friend, but someone in whom Elena found support and trust, truly becoming her family. The old cottage once again became Elena's home and the setting for this new phase of her life, marked by overcoming challenges and strengthening the family she found in Rachel. Family bonds are precious treasures that transcend challenges and adversities. Even in the face of life's turbulences, love, understanding, and mutual care among family members reveal themselves as fundamental pillars. Elena's story highlights the importance of maintaining these bonds, valuing unconditional support even when circumstances become complex. Unity and respect for family not only provide strength in difficult moments, but also build solid foundations for a future of overcoming challenges and growth. Dear viewers, thank you for watching. If you like this story, please subscribe to our channel to receive more stories every day. Share with us what you think of this story.